Throughout the history of the PBA, we've seen countless players who never seem to get the respect on their name that they deserve. So often we remember the big names and the big moments, but forget about the other bowlers who quietly went about making their mark on the game. These type of players are normally criminally underrated, and in this video we're going to be looking at some of the most underrated bowlers in PBA history. This is the third part of this video series, so if you haven't watched the first two parts, then you can do so by heading to my channel. In today's video, we have 5 more underrated bowlers to look at, and we will start with number 1, Jason Couch.
This guy's no slouch either. This guy can really bring it. Only lefty. In the final 4 of our TOC, great start on the pocket for Jason Couch. Strike percentage. And usually a pretty big average to go along with that. Back to the lefty. Yeah! In the pocket for Couch. Jason Couch has a very high backswing, very steep. Robert Smith's backswing not quite as high. Only the one open we saw in his run here. Market Square Arena, Indianapolis, Indiana, over Rich Wolf. He knows about success in an arena setting, and that's big success, 60 feet of it.
To me, Jason Couch is seriously underrated, as I think people forget just how good he was in his prime. He won 16 tour titles, but his dominance in particular was during the late 90s to early 2000s. Arguably, his best achievement of his career came during this period when he won the Tournament of Champions 3 times in a row, a feat that has still not been matched to this day. The closest anyone came to equaling this was Jason Belmonte, who lost in the title match in 2013 and then won back-to-back TOC titles in 2014 and 2015. Couch ended up having a pretty long career, with his last title coming in 2011 at the Plastic Ball Championship. Number 2, Patrick Allen.
In Reno, Nevada, earned his 11th Thunder Liquidators PBA Tour title. Hoss opens up with back-to-back jacks. Yeah, Hoss! Hoss opens up with the turkey. He is the top seed today. Hambo!
You've got to be on an even keel.
6-pack for PA! Yeah!
During the 2000s, Patrick Allen seemed to be making shows every week, and he was such a difficult opponent to beat on TV. He had, shall we say, a rather expressive manner on TV, and I think this left some fans feeling like he was a little bit arrogant, and they didn't really appreciate some of his outbursts on TV. I think this might be partly why Allen is underrated, as clearly some fans didn't really take to Allen's personality. But his bowling spoke for itself, and he won 13 titles in an 8-year period, which included 2 majors. He won 3 titles in 2009, 3 titles in 2007, and 4 titles in 2005, the year he captured Player of the Year. This shows just how dominant he was for multiple seasons during his prime. Number 3, John Mazza.
The strike. Ask and ye shall receive. Mazza, 4-step delivery. Well, he tripped it out the first time, went right back to the same hit the second time, leaves the 10-pin this time. Now, nice free swing, right in time. Hits the next to the last step, the ball at the peak of the backswing. There's the pivot step into the nice long slide. Nice and smooth.
John Mazza had a relatively short PBA career, which is why I think he does get forgotten about sometimes and is therefore underrated. But make no mistake, Mazza was an excellent PBA bowler, and while he only bowled on the PBA during the 90s, he managed to win 8 titles in this period. He also had a very smooth style, and it would have been very interesting to see how many more titles he could have won if he had stayed on the tour during the 2000s. Number 4, Bob Learn Jr.
The match in regulation.
Now we need only 2 more, ladies and gentlemen. $100,000. Boy, got a real good break, Chris. Yes, he did. High hit. Got them all. He has just made his 52nd 300 perfect game, but this by far the most valuable 100,000, ladies and gentlemen.
I think Bob Learn Jr. is probably best remembered for his absolutely mind-blowing performance at the 1996 Flagship Open. During this telecast, he set the all-time PBA record for total pins in a 4-game TV final. He bowled games of 300, 270, 280 and 279 for a total of 1,129 and an average of 282. This shattered the previous PBA record of 1,070 pins set in 1995 by David Ozio. But aside from this insane performance, Learn had a very solid career. He won 5 titles including the 1999 US Open. He also won 3 PBA 50 titles and has won 25 PBA regional titles too. On top of this, he is known as Mr. 300, having bowled over 100 300 games in PBA and USBC sanctioned competition. Number 5, Danny Wiseman.
Something he'd never done before. His tournament starts now. In the final and in style. Just outside second arrow, about the 8th board at the break point. That's about the 42-foot line or mark down the lane. Schedule to get this far. So many frames under his belt. But overall, he feels great. To make good quality shots. So dedicated to improving his game. And it's all paid off working with his personal trainer, Sam Donna, back in Baltimore.
Our final entry on this list is Danny Wiseman, a 12-time titleist who is incredibly underrated. He might not have had the flashiest style, but it was very consistent, and this allowed himself to carve out a very successful career for a number of years. The 90s and early 2000s were definitely his most successful, and this success peaked in 2004 when he finally captured his first major, the Masters. After this, his final title would come in 2008 at a doubles event where he was partnered with Mike Fagan. And there we have it. Those were 5 very underrated PBA bowlers, but of course you might feel there are some other bowlers that should have made this list. As I mentioned earlier, I have made 2 previous parts to this video, so make sure to check those out. And if you have any suggestions for players that you'd like me to include in a part 4, then just let me know in the comment section below. And don't forget, if you have enjoyed what you've seen today, please consider clicking the subscribe button below. That's going to do it from me for today, and as always, thank you bowling fans, and see you all next time.